It's not like these matchups
What's up,
are
Mad
like
King?
the most exciting ones. If you're the
I've lost a little bit of track of the WNF things. They're doing KOF this week, right? So next week will be Street Fighter 5 again. Wait, they canceled it? I thought they were just alternating. They straight up canceled it? They're not doing Street Fighter 5 until the patch now? What the fuck? Word? I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. That's like culturally enforcing patch culture. Like, or how do I want to say this? That's a top-down enforcement of the being thirsty for patch culture and killing people's motivation to play the game when there's no new content immediately here. You know what I mean? I feel like, if anything, that's an important time to pick up the responsibility to host an event to keep the community still active.
Oh my God.
I personally feel like WNF needs to do separate days. I really feel like it's too much for them to chew to do it all on stream in one day. Wow, Spooky from Team Spooky and Brian F from YouTube. I like how Spooky has his own platform. Team Spooky. Spooky from Team Spooky.
Let's make sure I got that correctly for them. All right.
What gravitated you to Oro so much? I tried him out and I liked him. Meaning Oro, so when buffed after the patch, he'll be top. I highly doubt they're going to buff him to be a top tier character. Oro is destined to be mid tier at best because his V trigger is too good. You know, he's one of those kind of characters. So they're never going to make him well rounded outside of V trigger, because then it'll just be like people will be super pissed. Because then he'll be solid outside of V trigger and also have a ridiculous V trigger. So I think it's his fate to not be top tier. Highly doubt he'll ever be top tier. You should really try Luke. Heard he's fun. Yeah, fun. I'm sure that's why everyone's playing him, because he's so fun. Is it Aura's normals that make him mid-tier? Yeah, his normals aren't great. And he doesn't get any like good Oki. Like, he has no mid-screen Oki, really. And he can't get knockdowns from lights without charge and no Oki from them. So basically, most characters, they get a hit, they get Oki. Oro can't do that, but also like his knockdowns also don't really set up really good zoning pressure for him either, because his zoning requires a lot of space and like desynced fireballs to like let him get meaty fireball to set up a V skill behind it. Like, it requires too much setup, and his knockdowns don't leave him at range to set that up, so people can interrupt the startup of... They can interrupt him setting up shop to get the zoning game going. So basically, nothing he hits you with mid-screen really leaves him in an ideal situation for pressure or for zoning. That's like his biggest problem. And then his neutral is mediocre. On top of that, respect me for that. It's so funny when I hear that from time to time, that people respect me for being a character loyalist. I think being a character loyalist is 100% stemmed from fear of change and lack of effort to keep learning and grow. I have the exact opposite opinion of that. I feel like being a character specialist often times stems from a negative place, not a positive. I really respect people who can just shift with the meta and keep it pushing and keep learning and growing. I really respect that. Now, there's obviously a plus side to it, right? Especially in really deep, rich games where like character specialists are really rewarded in terms of maximizing things only a character can do. Which is why I like characters like, I think Manat is like that, Oro. And Street Fighter 5 in general is not really like that for most characters, I feel like. But there are exceptions. So, you know, it is cool to see that when someone really pushes the characters to the limits. I love to see that. And there is a beauty in that. But I also really respect... I think sometimes doesn't come from a place of trying to optimize. Like, I don't want to call him out directly, but I would look at Luffy as someone who's a character loyalist, not out of the urge to optimize guessing with Mika to the utmost degree, right? I don't think that's why Luffy sticks with Mika. I think Luffy would like to branch out and do other things, but it stems from necessity and fear of losing and his need to compete and be a top level player, and the effort and the risk involved with investing in something else. You get what I'm saying?
This is the most well-dressed Eva Ryu. that I've ever seen. Look at this.
So I would say I've fallen into the other category. Like, Rog happens to be good now, right? But he was really trash in Season 3, in my opinion. And I didn't branch out enough.
There we go, Mylan.
And he still had bad matchups you got to counterpick. Like, why didn't I branch out earlier to try to counterpick, right? Things like that. Like, why didn't I just commit to that? I respect players who can just commit to that and get the job done. So what I'm doing right now with Oro is actually the exact opposite. You know, I'm just trying to I'm leaning more into my bad habits, but it's out of the drive to maximize his character because I like this character and I think he's very deep. Season 1 Rog was terrible. Season 2 Rog was busted. Season 3 Rog was lackluster.
Extra clean gameplay tonight from everyone. Every match we've seen, smooth.
People forget Season 1 Rog existed. They mixed up Season 1 and Season 2 Rog. Season 1 Rog was so bad.
Punk is also looking smooth, even after that first round.
There wasn't enough time to figure out how bad he was, because he released in like the second half or the last quarter of Season 1, I think, something like that.
Oh, nice conversion. Dang, it was a tipper.
Yeah, Street Fighter League came at a bad time for me when I was on it. I think if I had been on Street Fighter League at the end of 2019 instead of the beginning of 2019, I would have been in a much better place, because then I was playing G heavily at that point.
We really want HP to work with, and this is why.
Was Season 2 Rog your favorite? It was the funniest, but I mean...
Finish. Panda's Punk.
I like Season 4 Rog, and 5 is kind of just a better Season 4 Rog. Except I don't like the medium dash straight change, and I don't really care too much to play V-Skill 2 Rog, even though that's super strong in a lot of matchups.
You can see that Punk has extra power with that.
Ah, jeez.
Tossed. It's a big conversion. It's a close to death. Forget about the future of Street Fighter.
Oh my god. Raw activate?
Greedy. Come on, show me your best finish. Come on, Mylan. Show me your dopest combo. Do you have a reset behind us? No, we have damage. That was.
Oh no, he did anti-grab DP.
One uppercut again. Q punish. Show me you can do it twice. Says Punk. Show me you can do it twice.
Oh, not the teabag to overhead. Was that necessary? Punk was born for fighting games. Yeah, there's that discussion going on about, you know, Mena put that tweet like, who has would the average person have a more likely chance of beating Daigo in a first of 10 or LeBron James in a game of 21 or something like that? And that's, you know, that's a nonsense question because no one's going to do it. But I was making the point that I feel like fighting games, unless you're like at the 0.01% top level, for the most part, for most people, on average, everyone's different. There are exceptions. I don't want to offend anybody. This is one of the statements that can get people pissed. You know, because people are like, well, Brian, you know, I'm dumb. You know, that's what they'll tell me, and how insensitive am I, you know, for not including them when I say that most people can get good. I think most people can get decent at fighting games to a competent level. Exceptions apply. But I feel like there's a much more like barrier to entry, a much bigger genetic barrier to entry on average to professional sports. Like I think our brains are more malleable than our bodies by far, and most of our brains on average can get good at fighting games. So I don't think there's that much like, you know, preventing you from being a good fighting game player, except, you know, obviously genetics apply to the top 1% of anything, top 0.01%. But Punk, when I see people like Punk, it makes me like, I feel like you view talent. You're viewing someone that either through nature or nurture is just quick and like he's built for this. You know, like it's not just Street Fighter, and it's not just one character in Street Fighter, it's every character in Street Fighter. It's multiple fighting games, and it's all at really rapid speeds compared to most other fighting game players. It just, you know, some people are, that happens. Like, you find your match. I think sports require a ridiculous amount of work. I'm not going to say I think it's all the same amount of work. I think it's harder to be a professional athlete. I think there's very few professional fighting game players. Like, I don't even know about Punk, right? Is Punk that much of a professional? Because I don't, does he work as hard as a professional athlete does in his field, or is he just gifted enough to beat up most people without having to work that hard? Whereas I feel like with the professional athletes, they don't have that luxury. I think even the best of the best have to work that hard because the competition is so fierce. You get what I mean?
Oh my goodness, it's almost.
I think there's very few professional fighting game players in the same sense that there are professional athletes. So professional athletes, you also have to just be like 1 in a billion or 1 in a million genetics, and then you have to work even harder. I feel like I think that's just how it is in the current state. There's just more competition. It's a more deeper legacy in any kind of athletic endeavor you get into. There's a lot of history there, you know. But with fighting games, it's still very young and small. So I think we see people like that with like Punk. But like, imagine if fighting games were big enough to find all the punks in the world, and then they all started playing because they're like, damn, you know, I'm gonna grow up to be a fighting game player. That's what everyone's into. And then we find more punks out there in the world, and then all the punks are fighting each other. Like, oh shit, there's this other punk who thinks he's the punk, but I'm the punk, and then they actually have to try hard.
It's been so fun.
You know, I don't think we're anywhere near that level.
The highest tier character was like G or something. It's been fun.
Sports not that hard. Just go to practice, work out, study, rinse and repeat. LOL. Yeah.
Mirror at one point.
I mean, you can be bad at anything.
Early rounds for the tournament.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely easy to be a bad athlete. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Oh yeah, certainly. Kage has strengths. Oh, like that there. Nice bait. Got the Tatsu. Double Tatsu into the Shoryu. Very solid damage for 1 meter. I got the throw too. Oh, we can actually kill with just this 1 meter now.
Trust me, it's easy to be a bad fighting game player. I do it every day.
Woo! I said it and it worked. That's so crazy. Punk has our picks. I can't even see.